Hi, everyone. This is Stephanie Galvan Russell, and this is the Instructional Design Practices presentation for ISDT 7350. Hello, sixth grade teachers. My name is Stephanie Galvan Russell, and I will be your instructional designer throughout this project. As your instructional designer, I will be developing a series of interdisciplinary lesson plans with a focus on the local community culture while increasing 21st century skills and training you, the sixth grade teachers, who are going to be my subject area experts, and training you how to implement these lessons in your own classrooms. According to Wallace and Becker, they define instructional design as the process of identifying, describing, and developing a sequence of procedures and methods to implement a focused learning program to achieve desired learning outcomes, which is what we're going to do. So, the first thing that we had to think about in designing this project is considerations of our instructional design. The first consideration we want to think about is if what we are going to be using is going to be developmentally appropriate for our students and for our classrooms. On the screen, you'll see a checklist that Shirley Hershey references in her article, Developmentally Appropriate Technology in My Classroom, but How? And you can use this checklist that she references to determine if the material for your classroom is going to be developmentally appropriate. A few more considerations you can see here on the screen. As the subject matter experts, the sixth grade teachers are going to kind of be like consultants with me as we are working together and as I'm training you on how to implement these lessons. You are going to be the experts on the content. You know who our end users will be, which is our students, and you know them best. So you are going to help thinking about how this is going to work for your students. You also know the organizational culture of your school and the delivery system that we're going to use. So you will be our subject matter experts and you will help as we implement this program. Teachers should also have a solid foundation about content and pedagogical knowledge. This was part of the book TPAC Breakthroughs. And in this consideration, we know that teachers are using educational technology, but in this program, teachers are going to need a solid foundation and be able to modify their teaching approaches to accommodate new technologies, excuse me, that will continue to improve student learning. Before we even start thinking about any of planning or implementation, we want to think about societal and learner cultural factors. And while we think of those on the screen, you'll see a few of those factors. So the first one you'll see is, oops, is that if we want to focus on the community culture, how is our community going to be involved? According to Brinegar et al., teachers and students should develop a more robust integration of participation from the community members. So if we want that community culture to truly come through, excuse me, we want that community input. And while we're thinking about community culture, have we agreed on our definition of community culture? And that this is usually one of the biggest challenges that we see when designing these types of programs for schools, because teachers have not already agreed on what they define culture as, and so we want to make sure we do that up front. Next is how are the relationships of the students, teachers, and school community being fostered? Once again, we want to focus on that community culture. So we want to make sure that we are really fostering those relationships and making sure that they're as strong as they can possibly be. And finally, have we checked our own biases before beginning? In order to create a culturally responsive curriculum, we have to think about our own biases and barriers that we have may have put up or that we have made continue for our culturally marginalized students. So we need to check those biases before we continue. Then we need to think about some constraints that we might find as we continue. Now, instead of just talking about the constraints, I do want to point out some solutions. So, first, three constraints that I found are First, because we're going to be working in a rural district, and I am aware that we have been very lucky to have obtained internet access from this company that has going to be helping our students. But we still might experience outages. We might experience slowdowns of internet speeds. And so we want to accommodate students as much as possible by providing offline activities as well, whether those are printouts of DVDs, even giving printouts, excuse me, or DVDs, or giving them other ways to work. Another potential problem could be teachers creating their own videos. I know a lot of teachers are going to want to create their own material, but because they are going to experience frustration through this, and we want to save as much time and effort as possible to make sure that the teachers feel confident when implementing these, that we want to encourage them to use open existing open resources for them, such as Khan Academy. These are going to save money and time because they're already created and available for teachers. And finally, or at least on this slide, finally, the most internal factor that teachers see is the influence of teacher adoption of technology. And yes, teachers are using technology, but what we want to provide is some good professional development. And that's where you, my sixth grade teachers, are going to come in. You are going to help me. I'm going to train you, and then you're going to go off to train the other teachers. And so, in doing this, we're going to provide professional development and relate this program to the content that the teachers are already working with. This way, when we want to give them more technology to use in the classroom, then they can be comfortable applying it to what they are already focused on. A few more constraints that you can see on the screen are that if teachers don't view technology as important, then they're less likely to implement it and use it in their classrooms. That was from our Reiser and Dempsey book about issues and trends in instructional design. And we want to encourage that positive attitude towards technology. And by doing that, we're going to nurture the usability of technology. And we're going to do that by showing the teachers just how awesome this program is going to be. Then we know that access to the equipment that the students are going to use and the teachers are going to use is not going to be an issue. But sometimes teachers have low self-efficacy in implementing these programs. And so I know we have a novice teacher and a veteran teacher here, and that is awesome because my veteran teacher, not just do you have more experience in the classroom, but you have had more professional development and more time learning to perfect your craft. And so that is going to come in awesomely to be able to help our continuing teachers. So we're going to use those veteran teachers and the skills they have learned to continue to train the other teachers. And then um, according to that TPAC book, once again, beliefs and attitudes towards the importance of technology can negatively affect teacher change, and teacher perceptions are going to play a huge role in this. And so, once again, my veteran teachers and my sixth grade teachers, my subject matter experts, you are going to offer that advice and offer that collegial guidance to the teachers you're going to be helping train so that they can be eager to learn. Because I am currently an outsider, but you are insiders and they are going to trust you while you are implementing this program. All right. So we are going, whoops, excuse me. We're going to be using the Pebble in the Pond instructional design model. This figure right here is a perfect example. This is according to the Ryder and Dempsey book. Once again, this shows you exactly kind of what the Pebble in the Pond model looks like. So the pebble is the problem. And from there, we're going to look at progression, component skills, enhance strategies, finalize the design, and finally evaluate. We're going to use the Pebble and the Pond instructional design model as opposed to other models you might know of because we already have information about what we're going to be implementing. We're going to be implementing this program where we're going to have 21st century skills come through while we foster community culture. So, because we already know not so much what our problem is, but what our topic of this matter is, we know our learning population, we know our instructional goals, and we're going to come through at the end of this with a prototype that we can use and implement immediately. So, because we already have these things in place, we don't have to start from scratch. And so, we already have our pebble, and we are going to continue to use that. And finally, our technology integration model is going to be the TPAC model. And the TPAC model is what you see on the screen. It is going to provide information concerning to what degree teachers apply to meaningful use of technology in a variety of learning situations. TPAC, we are focusing on this integration model because it promotes teacher reflection and how well the teachers understand the subject matter. It's also going to be a great framework for articulating and improving teachers' use of technology. So we're not just having the teachers use it, but they're going to reflect on it and truly understand how they can improve using technology in the classroom to better their students' success. And researchers and teacher educators have adopted the TPAC model as a tool for understanding and advancing pre service and in service teachers' ability to integrate technology into their instruction. So, we're going to be focusing on the use of the technology in everyone's classroom, not just our new teachers and not just our veteran teachers, but in everyone's classrooms. So, I hope that this was helpful in getting to know me. Right here are my references. And once again, my name is Stephanie Galvan Russell. If you need me, you can find me at smg050 at shsu.edu or on all forms of social media at Let's Be Librarian. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. I am sending y'all warm thoughts, and I hope that we get through this program together. And I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.